Hey everybody, this is Tressa. How you doing today? Hope you're all doing well. Today we're gonna make chocolate cake. I've been putting it off for a while, but I think I'm gonna go for it today. Hope you enjoy the recipe.
We use 2 bowls to make a chocolate cake, and you have to sift the flour and the cocoa powder. Oh, I forgot one. Measuring cups. So we're gonna need. I'm sorry, I read the recipe 5 times, and I still have to look back at it. I do apologize. I'm gonna need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. My flour container is overflowing, so I just filled it up. So you want to make sure you get a good measurement.
Alright, that's one. Now I need my half cup. I like to try to fluff up my flour before I measure it, but I'm getting flour all over the place. Okay, and then we need 3/4 cup of cocoa powder. And I'm not going to level that off. Really, I just shake it like that. And just add that. And that's all we're going to sift. We don't have to sift the other dry ingredients. And I already got my pans ready. My oven's preheated to 325. I don't know if I said that. So let's sift this. We're just gonna combine the wet and the dry and mix, and then just divide it in the pans. You always want to get the lumps out. Okay, so now we're gonna need 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. So we'll add that to our dry ingredients. There's 1. This recipe does not call for any type of coffee, and I'm gonna leave it as it is. It seems like when I try to add things, I mess up the recipe. But I'm sure it would be fine if you wanted to add it. 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to add, sugar. We're going to add in the sugar, which is 1.5 cups of sugar already measured out. And then we need to add some salt. And I think we add 3/4 teaspoon of salt as well. 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to whisk this together. Try to get it well combined. Okay. And actually for my wet ingredients, I need 3/4 cup of buttermilk, which I have right here. I was gonna use a bowl, but I'm just gonna use my big measuring cup. Okay, 3/4 cup of buttermilk in here. And we have a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I use canola, and a 1/2 cup of water. Mix that in. And then 2 eggs. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. It says 1, but I always add 2 to chocolate. I'm going to take this and whisk this together. And we're just going to whisk this all together. Like so. And this is from the, this recipe is from the Cooks Illustrated magazine. I have not tried this recipe yet. But it's the cover, the picture on the cover is just beautiful, but I don't know if mine's gonna come out beautiful, that's for sure. All right, that looks mixed. I'll tell you one thing, I have been washing dishes today. I have a dishwasher, but I've been using the same dishes over and over, so I keep having to wash them. So I'm gonna put these in the pan. Try to divide it evenly. It's a pretty thick batter for a chocolate cake. These are 9-inch pans. You don't even have to use the stand mixer for this recipe, except for the buttercream you will have to, or a hand mixer. And these are supposed to bake at 325 for around 22 minutes. And it looks like they're going to be fairly thin layers. I got it as even as I could. So I'll show you when they come out of the oven. Sorry about the light, but I took it out of the oven. These cakes actually took 40 minutes to bake. I was very surprised. But I'm going to let them cool a little while, then I'll try to take them out of the pans and we'll make the frosting. Now I'm going to attempt to make the buttercream. The instructions actually call for a food processor, but I'm not making it in the food processor. I'm going to make it in my stand mixer. And I'm going to start with 2 sticks of unsalted butter. And my butter is room temperature, but it's about 65 degrees. It's not completely soft. I find it works better that way. So, also, because I can't follow instructions, I'm going to add just about 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, whipped cream cheese, to make it a little light and fluffy. It can't hurt. We'll know if it doesn't come out well. Well, it won't come off. All right. So I'm gonna first start off just whipping this for about 3 minutes. And I'll do that for about 4 minutes. And it looks pretty fluffy. And now I'm gonna add 3/4 of a cup of confectioner's sugar. And a 1/2 cup of cocoa powder. And added a pinch of salt. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to mix this. It also calls for corn syrup, but I'm going to see how this looks first. So let me mix this and I'll be back. Now I'm going to add in my melted chocolate. It calls for bittersweet chocolate, but I'm using semi-sweet chocolate. I don't care for bittersweet chocolate. And my chocolate's actually gotten a little bit solid. I melted it earlier. The semi-sweet, I think, is a good flavor, but you could choose to use, I have a lot of bittersweet chocolate. I need to find a recipe I like to put it in. Okay, and then it says a 1/2 cup of corn syrup, but I'm going to start with about 1/4 of a cup and see what the consistency is. I'll mix this and I'll show you. I'm going to add the rest of the corn syrup. It seems pretty thick still, so I'm going to go ahead and add this. I may add a little bit of heavy cream. That always lightens it up, and it doesn't take much. So let's see what this does. Oh, I need to scrape my bowl. It's so hard to scrape the bowl sometimes. The whisk gets in the way. Gotta move it. Make sure it's all mixed in. Okay, looks pretty good, but I'm gonna whip it some more and then I'll be back. Okay, I like the consistency, but I think it needs a little bit more powdered sugar, so I'm gonna add another 1/4 of a cup. And I'm also gonna add about 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. Not too much. Okay, let me mix this in so you don't have to listen to it because it's pretty loud. Here's the frosting, and it whipped up pretty nice. I like the consistency. I think it's going to go really well with the chocolate cake. So let me get the cake layers ready, and then we'll ice the chocolate cake. Here's my first layer. Luckily, it came out of the pan. I'm just going to put... And I'm not a cake decorator, that's for sure. I'm just going to do this the best I can. I still have to get the other cake out of the pan. That might be a disaster. But I just like to put a pretty good amount. And it's not too sweet. My daughter tasted the frosting and she said it's not overly sweet. She actually wanted me to add more sugar, but I said no. And I just want to take it out to the edges a little bit. Okay, let me get the other cake out of the pan and I'll bring you back. I'm so happy it came out of the pan, just a tiny, tiny bit stuck. So I'm going to just frost the rest of the cake. And so you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, I just made a little spiral design on the top, but here's the chocolate cake. It's chocolate on the inside and chocolate on the outside. My favorite chocolate cake. We'll cut into it and show you what it looks like on the inside. Okay, let's cut a piece of this cake. It should be very moist. This is probably not the right kind of knife to cut it, but that's all I have. Oh, look at that. Okay, my hands are dirty. I might have put too much frosting in the middle, but that's okay. It's going to be delicious. Let's try it. It's so moist and has a rich, deep chocolate flavor. Even though I didn't put any espresso powder, it's still delicious. I think this might be my favorite chocolate cake recipe. I had to alter the frosting recipe, but it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys try it, and thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe, share, all that good stuff, comment, and I'll see you on the next one.